You can't stop now. Not after everything you've been through. Not after the time, the energy, the sacrifices you've already made. You didn't come this far just to give up when it starts getting hard. This is the part that matters most. The part where you decide if you're going to rise or stay where you are. There's no perfect moment coming. No one's going to hand you the life you want. You have to build it with your own hands, one step at a time, even when it's tough, even when you're tired. In this video, we're going deep. We're going to talk about how to push through pain, silence fear, and keep going no matter how slow it feels. You'll find the fire again, not because someone else lights it, but because you remember what you're made of. Stay with me, because this isn't just talk. This is the reminder you needed. Number 1, stand up now and fight through the pain. Stand up now and fight through the pain. You don't wait for the right moment to feel strong. You don't wait for things to get easier. You don't wait until the weight disappears or the pressure lightens. That's not how life works. You face it right where you are. When you feel the most pain is when you must rise the fastest. When everything in you wants to quit is when you must fight with more intensity. The pain you're feeling right now is not the enemy. It's the signal that you're doing something that matters. Most people stop when they feel it. They fold. They look for distractions. They convince themselves that maybe it's not meant to be, but not you. Not anymore. Because now you've made a decision. You must keep going. There's no growth without discomfort. There's no strength without struggle. Pain is not punishment. It's a sign that you're pushing beyond your old limits. And here's the truth. What hurts today can shape you tomorrow, but only if you keep going. If you retreat, you miss the lesson. If you stop, you miss the transformation. This is where most people give up. This is where most people decide to lower the bar, slow down, or sit in their emotions. You don't get to be great if you only move when it feels good. You get to be great by moving especially when it hurts. You've got to build the kind of mindset that doesn't seek comfort. The kind of mindset that runs toward the pressure. That says, I don't need to feel okay to keep moving forward. Because the real reward in life doesn't go to the person who starts with the most talent. It doesn't go to the one who had it easiest. It goes to the one who refuses to quit. The one who wakes up broken and still moves. The one who gets no support and still shows up. The one who feels unseen and still gives everything. This is what separates people who wish for more and those who go out and earn it. Now you might say it's hard. Of course it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. That's how you know you're on the right path. The easy way isn't made for you, because you're not here to coast through life. You're here to grow through it. Every difficult moment, every emotional battle, every heavy day is sharpening you. You either let the pain define you or you use it to refine you. That's the decision you face right now. Are you going to stay down? Are you going to surrender to your current feelings? Or are you going to stand up and say, I won't let this break me? Because pain is real. It's sharp. It shows up in silence. It shows up in long nights, in moments of self-doubt, in fear, in failure, in fatigue. But those who grow through it develop something unshakable. They stop depending on the outside world to feel strong. They become strong from the inside. And once you reach that level, you stop needing permission to rise. You stop needing others to understand your path. You stop explaining your pain. You use it. You turn it into fuel. You use it to power the next step. You don't need the whole plan. You don't need everything figured out. You just need the courage to take the next step while it still hurts. You need the guts to say, even though I feel like giving up, I'm going to keep pushing. Because real success doesn't feel like motivation. It feels like sweat, like exhaustion, like showing up again when you've already given everything. And in that moment, something changes inside you. You stop being the person who complains about what life throws at you and become the person who says, throw more. I'm ready. You don't build confidence by avoiding the struggle. You build it by surviving it. You build it by reminding yourself every day that quitting is not an option. You don't get better by hoping things go your way. You get better by adapting. You get stronger by making a choice to push back every single time you feel like collapsing. And yes, you will cry. You will fall. You will feel like you're the only one carrying so much. But in that moment, remember this. Your pain is not proof of weakness. It's proof of effort. It's proof that you're still in the game. And that alone makes you stronger than most. You may not see results yet. That's normal. That's what tests your patience. But keep showing up. Keep fighting through it. Because the payoff doesn't come to those who stop when they're tired. It comes to those who push through tired and meet the breakthrough on the other side. That's the quiet part nobody talks about. Most of your wins in life will not come in front of an audience. They'll come when no one is watching. They'll come when you're exhausted and you still choose to keep going. That's where transformation happens. Not in applause, not in recognition, but in the lonely hours where you decide to keep climbing. There's no success story without struggle. There's no greatness without grit. You're not just chasing a goal. You're chasing who you become through the fight. And the only way to find that version of yourself is to stand up now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready now, and fight through the pain with every ounce of strength you've got left. Because when you reach that level of inner toughness, life doesn't scare you the same way. You don't need everything to be perfect anymore. You become the kind of person who adapts, endures, and grows through it. So don't run from the pain. Don't numb it. Don't bury it. Use it. Lean into it. This moment is shaping your future. The way you respond now will either build you or break you. You get to choose, and the best choice you can make is to keep moving forward. Step by step, breath by breath, thought by thought, decision by decision. It's not about being fearless. It's about acting even when you're afraid. It's about choosing strength when it would be easier to stay weak. That's where your power is. And if you want to change your life, it starts with this decision right here. I must keep going. No matter what, no matter who doubts me, no matter how tired I feel, no matter how far I've still got to go. I won't quit. I won't fold. I won't stop. Because my future is too important. My peace is too valuable. My time is too limited. And my life is too precious. Stand up now, right now, and fight through the pain. Because the other side of that pain holds everything you've ever wanted. And you're not stopping until you get there. Number 2, take control today and finish what you started. Take control today and finish what you started. There's no more waiting. No more halfway efforts. No more leaving things undone while convincing yourself that someday you'll get to it. The truth is, most people never finish because they never decide that today is the day. They keep looking at the mountain, telling themselves it's too steep, too far, too much. But you're not most people. You've started something for a reason. You had a purpose in mind, a reason to begin. Don't throw that away. You owe it to yourself to see it through. Because nothing you start will ever become real if you keep pausing every time things get tough. Every time you delay, every time you stop, every time you step away, you weaken your momentum. And momentum is the fuel that carries you when your energy runs low. It's the force that gets you through the slow days, the lonely nights, the seasons where nothing seems to move. You don't build that by starting over and over again. You build it by showing up and continuing where you left off, no matter how long it's been. Because finishing what you started is a choice. It's a clear decision to push past doubt, past laziness, past fear, and get back in control of your life. Most people wait for motivation, but motivation is not the answer. It's unreliable. It comes and goes. What matters is action. The kind of action that doesn't care how you feel. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to move. You need to take that project, that plan, that promise you made to yourself, and bring it to the finish line. Not because it's easy, not because you feel excited, but because you gave your word to yourself. And that matters. That means something. You don't become disciplined by watching others do it. You don't learn commitment by talking about your goals. You grow by doing the work, especially the work you don't feel like doing. That's where the real development begins. That's where you build character. That's where you show yourself what you're really made of. The power is in the doing, in the small daily actions that move things forward, even when progress feels invisible. If you can keep going in those moments, if you can stay focused when nobody's reminding you, you become someone nobody can stop. Look back at what you've started. Really look. The goal you set, the dream you had, the plan you once believed in. It's all still waiting, but it won't wait forever. Life doesn't hold things in place. Time moves. Opportunities move. The world doesn't stop to keep your spot open. So if you don't take control now, You risk losing everything you once said mattered. Don't lie to yourself by saying you'll do it later. Later doesn't change anything. Now does. Now is all you have. If you're tired, adjust your pace, but don't step away. If it's hard, simplify, but don't stop. If it feels overwhelming, break it into smaller steps, but don't quit. The finish line is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be earned. And the only way to earn it is to keep moving toward it with urgency. Not perfection, not speed, but consistency. That's what makes the difference. That's what separates people who get things done from those who just talk about what they'll do someday. Finishing what you started changes you. It turns you into someone who follows through, someone who can be trusted, someone who doesn't flinch when things get difficult. The world respects people who complete, people who see it all the way through. That kind of mindset builds a life you can be proud of. One where you look back and know that you didn't run from your responsibilities. You didn't hide behind distractions. You stood up, took control, and made it happen. And yes, you'll face challenges. You'll have days where nothing works. You'll hit moments where your own mind tries to convince you that it's too late, too hard, too far gone. Ignore that voice. That voice is not telling the truth. That voice is fear wearing the mask of reason. Don't let it win. Because every step you take forward strengthens your belief, and belief grows with action. That's how you take control. By deciding that no excuse is bigger than your responsibility. You don't need more time. You need more focus. You don't need more help. You need more follow-through. The answers aren't hiding somewhere out there. They're inside the work you've been avoiding. Go back to it. Pick it up, even if it feels slow, even if nobody notices, even if you feel behind. Just finish it. Because when you do, everything changes. You prove to yourself that you're not ruled by how you feel. You prove that your goals aren't negotiable. You prove that you're someone who follows through when it counts. Take control today. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're done letting the days slip by. You're done watching your life drift in pieces. You're done making excuses and blaming circumstances. It's on you now. Nobody's going to push you. Nobody's going to hand you the result. You have to earn it. You have to choose it every single day. Even when it's boring. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when nobody supports you. That's what real ownership looks like. That's what real success requires. If you keep avoiding your goals, they'll start to feel like lies. If you keep putting things off, you'll start to believe you're someone who never finishes. But if you start finishing, even the small things, that changes your identity. You become someone who gets things done. You start to believe in yourself again. That's how you get your power back. You take one task, you finish it, and you move on to the next. And before you know it, you've built something solid, something real, something that nobody can take from you. It doesn't matter how long you've waited. It doesn't matter how much time you've wasted. All that matters now is what you choose to do next. Right now is your moment. Right now is the reset. No more starting and stopping. No more dragging your feet. No more unfinished plans cluttering your life. Finish what you started. And in that process, take full control of your habits, your time, and your direction. Because once you build that mindset, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop settling for almost. You stop being average. And that is what sets you free. Not luck, not chances, but the decision to finish again and again until it becomes who you are. Take control today and never leave anything unfinished again. Number 3. Choose discipline daily and crush every excuse inside. Choose discipline daily and crush every excuse inside. That's what separates the ones who get ahead from the ones who stay stuck. Not motivation, not talent, not luck. Discipline. That decision you make when you don't feel like it. That force you tap into when your body wants to sit down and your mind tells you to wait. Discipline is not natural for most people, but it can be built. It's earned through choice, through repetition, through doing what needs to be done when it's the last thing you feel like doing. Every excuse that shows up in your mind is just a test to see who you're going to listen to. Are you going to give your energy to the weak voice inside you that says, I'll do it later, or this isn't the right time? Or are you going to shut that down and move forward anyway? That's the real battle. The fight between what's easy and what's necessary. You win that fight once and it gets a little easier to win it again. You start stacking wins. You start proving to yourself that you don't have to be a slave to your feelings. Discipline doesn't mean being perfect. It means showing up even when you're not. It means sticking to your plan even on the days when your motivation is gone. It means doing your work even when your mood says no. You have to learn to stop negotiating with yourself. Because every time you give an excuse space to breathe, it grows. Excuses grow fast. They grow in silence. They grow in your delay. And before you know it, they've stolen your progress, your self-respect, and your power. You know exactly what needs to be done. It's not a mystery. It's not hiding. You've thought about it, planned it, talked about it enough times. Now it's time to act on it, again and again. That's what daily discipline is. It's not once a week. It's not whenever you feel good. It's every day, even when you're tired, even when nobody's watching, even when there's no instant reward, especially then, because those are the moments that matter most. That's where real growth begins. You want to get ahead, show up when it's boring. Keep going when it feels pointless. Push through when nobody's clapping for you. That's discipline. That's the life changer. Most people quit because they expect results too fast. They do something hard for a few days, don't see a massive change, and they stop. But you don't need overnight results. You need daily proof to yourself that you're stronger than the excuses trying to hold you down. The excuses will always be there. They don't go away, but you can silence them. Not with words, not with inspiration, but with action. You get up and do the work. You don't wait for the perfect mindset. You don't sit around hoping to feel good. You move forward whether your energy is high or low. And that builds power. It gives you momentum. It makes you sharp. You stop looking for the easy route, and you start trusting the grind. Because that's where the breakthroughs live. That's where the change becomes permanent. Every single day, you've got a decision to make. Will you give in to comfort? Or will you lean into growth? Will you protect your old habits? Or will you replace them with new ones? You can't have both. You can't become the person you want to be while holding on to the behaviors that are keeping you small. So something's got to die. Either your excuses or your potential. You choose. Every time you skip a habit, every time you justify a delay, you feed weakness. Every time you follow through, even when it's tough, you feed your future. Discipline is not a punishment. It's a gift you give to your future self. It's how you build trust with yourself. It's how you stop doubting your own word. When you do what you say you'll do, when no one else is checking in, that's how you build a reputation with yourself that says, I can count on me. And when you reach that place, you're dangerous in the best way, because nothing outside of you can shake you. You know how to lead yourself. You know how to hold yourself to a standard that doesn't shift with emotions. You don't get that kind of strength from hoping. You get it from daily commitment. You get it from making a decision once and following it, no matter how you feel tomorrow. You make your decisions at the top of your mind, not at the bottom of your mood. If you live by how you feel, you'll never finish anything. But if you live by your priorities, your habits, your responsibilities, you'll finish everything you start, and you'll do it with pride. Don't let your feelings talk you out of your future. Don't let your excuses talk you out of your greatness. You were built for more than comfort. You were built to lead yourself through the hard times. You were built to be disciplined. It might not come naturally, but it can become automatic if you train it. Just like anything else. Day after day, you wake up and act. You stop overthinking. You stop waiting. You take control. And then you do it again the next day. That's how you kill excuses. Not by arguing with them. Not by complaining. But by ignoring them and moving forward anyway. Every person you admire, every story of success you've ever heard, every example of someone who turned their life around, it all started the same way. A decision to stop giving in. A moment where they said, enough. I'm done letting weakness win. You've got that moment right now. You've got a chance to do the same. You don't need to fix your whole life in a day. You just need to choose discipline right now, and then again tomorrow, and then the next day. And before long, it becomes who you are. Don't make this harder than it is. The truth is simple. You either control your choices, or your excuses will. You either lead yourself, or you stay stuck. You either discipline your time, your habits, your emotions, or they run your life without your permission. Take the power back. Make the commitment to crush every excuse that shows up. No second chances. No more negotiation. The work must get done, and you're the one who must do it. If you don't lead yourself, nobody else will. The world isn't coming to save you. You've got to save yourself with action. You've got to make a habit out of being stronger than your doubts. The only way you get there is by choosing discipline over comfort every single time. And that choice will turn you into someone unstoppable. Someone no excuse can hold back. Someone whose life is built on self-respect and personal power. Choose discipline today. And don't ever let an excuse speak louder than your purpose again. Number 4. Push yourself harder when nobody claps for you. Push yourself harder when nobody claps for you. That's when it really counts. Anybody can move when the spotlight is on them. Anybody can take action when the crowd is cheering. But what about when it's quiet? What about those long hours when no one's watching? When no one texts to check in? When there's no reward in sight? That's the moment most people slow down. That's when they wait for recognition. But not you. You keep going. Because the applause was never the goal. The goal is growth. The goal is becoming someone you respect in the mirror. The goal is doing what you said you would do, even if no one ever says thank you. Most people live off of external approval. They only feel valuable when someone gives them permission to feel that way. That's a trap. If your work only matters when it's noticed, you'll always be a slave to validation. You'll hold back when you need to go all in. You'll hesitate when you should commit. You'll shrink when you should expand. But when you learn how to move forward without applause, you break free. You stop waiting for recognition and start creating your own momentum. You take control of your energy. You take responsibility for your focus. And that's where your confidence grows. Your self-worth should never depend on who's watching. It should depend on how consistent you are. It should come from knowing you're doing the work. It should come from showing up without needing to be seen. That's how real confidence is built. You earn it in silence. You build it in the dark. You create it when you wake up early and nobody cares. You create it when you stay disciplined and nobody notices. You create it when you keep going. Even though it feels like no progress is happening, there will be days when the results are invisible. You'll train and feel like nothing's changing. You'll put in the time and feel like nothing's moving forward. That's where most people stop. But the ones who win, they don't care if it's obvious. They care if it's honest. They care about putting in the work because it's the right thing to do. They don't wait to feel appreciated. They act because they've made a promise to themselves. They follow through not because they're being watched, but because they're the kind of person who follows through. You've got to stop waiting for applause to feel like you're doing well. You've got to stop measuring your progress by who's supporting you. Sometimes the most important wins happen in silence. Nobody sees them. Nobody congratulates you. But those wins, those small, lonely, invisible wins, those are the ones that shape your life. That's where character is built. That's where mental toughness comes from. That's where your future is shaped. Every time you push yourself, without needing a cheer, you're telling the world you're serious. Every time you show up without recognition, you're getting stronger. Not in a loud way, not in a showy way, but in a way that lasts, in a way that nobody can take from you. You don't need to post it. You don't need to share it. You just need to live it. Because real growth doesn't always come with celebration. It comes with grit. It comes with commitment. It comes with a decision to stay on the path long after the hype is gone. You need to be your own reason, your own source of fire, your own voice in your head saying, this matters. Because if you don't believe it, nobody else will. If you don't treat your goals like they're important, the world won't either. If you don't hold yourself accountable, then who will? You've got to take full responsibility, full ownership, full control. Not halfway, not when it's easy, but all the time. Because your future depends on it. There are no shortcuts. There are no magic days when everything feels perfect. There's only the choice to keep going, again and again. Whether people support you or stay silent, whether people encourage you or ignore you, you can't let that stop you. You've got to know that your discipline is your power. Your commitment is your power. And every step you take without applause proves how real you are. When no one claps, you clap for yourself. When no one sees, you see. When no one cares, you care. You know what you're working toward. You know what you've sacrificed. You know what it's cost you to keep going. That matters. That's enough. You don't need a stage. You don't need a standing ovation. You need to stay loyal to the path. You need to be relentless about what you want. You need to be unshakable in your pursuit. There will always be critics. There will always be silence. There will always be those days when the work feels thankless. But that doesn't mean you stop. That means you go even harder. That means you remind yourself why you started in the first place. Not to be liked, not to be followed, but to become someone you never thought you could be. That's the goal. That's the mission. And that mission is worth every ounce of effort, even if the world never claps for it. Because in the end, it's not about applause. It's about progress. It's about transformation. It's about waking up one day and realizing you didn't give up on yourself when it was hard. You didn't wait for praise to do what was right. You stayed disciplined. You kept moving. You held the line. That's what matters. That's what changes lives. That's what builds legacy. Push yourself when no one's looking. Push harder when it feels like no one believes in you. Push harder when the noise disappears. That's when you find out who you are. That's when the real growth begins. Not on the stage, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, where only your effort speaks. Be proud of that. Be relentless in that. Push harder every time the world goes quiet, because the person who keeps going without applause is the one who becomes unstoppable. Number 5. Get back up every time life knocks you down. You're going to get knocked down in life. That's not a possibility. That's a certainty. There's no escaping it. Life doesn't care who you are or what you've done. It'll test you. It'll push you to your breaking point. Sometimes it won't just knock you down once. It'll hit you again when you're already on the floor. And that's when most people quit. That's when they fold. That's when they give up and say, maybe this isn't for me. But not you. You get back up every time. No matter how hard, no matter how painful, you stand again. You rise again. Because that's what strong people do. That's what fighters do. That's what people with purpose do. There's a moment after you fall when everything feels like it's over. Your body is tired. Your mind is scattered. Your heart is heavy. And your spirit is shaken. But you can't stay there. You can't sit in the wreckage and wait for someone to rescue you. No one is coming. You've got to stand. You've got to find something inside you that says, this is not where I stop. You've got to remind yourself that you've made it through things before, and you'll do it again. You've got to believe, even in the smallest way, that you're capable of more. There's no shame in falling. There's no shame in being broken for a while. The shame is in staying there. The shame is in surrendering to the pain and letting it define you. But pain doesn't define you unless you let it. The moment you stand back up, you take your power back. You reclaim your future. You remind life that you're not easy to break. You show yourself what you're really made of. It won't always be dramatic. Sometimes getting back up just means facing the day when you don't want to. Sometimes it means showing up for work when your mind is full of doubt. Sometimes it means apologizing when you've made a mistake. Sometimes it's simply refusing to let sadness turn into a permanent story. The act itself may look small on the outside, but inside, it's everything. Inside, that's you winning the fight. That's you saying, I still have more in me. Every single time you get back up, you build strength you didn't know you had. You teach your mind that failure is not final. You train your heart to be more patient. You turn a setback into training for what's next. That's how resilience is built. Not by avoiding pain, but by walking through it and choosing not to let it stop you. Some people stay down because they wait for the perfect moment to rise. They want to feel strong before they act strong. But you can't wait for courage to show up. You've got to act in its absence. You've got to move while you're scared. You've got to try while you still feel weak. That's what builds you. That's what shapes you. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide that giving up is no longer an option. Life has no shortage of punches. But you are not made of glass. You're built for the struggle. You've been through things that would have broken other people. And you're still here. That means something. That means there's something inside you worth fighting for. You didn't come this far to stop halfway. You didn't go through all that pain just to quit. Now, you owe it to yourself to see this through. You owe it to your past to turn your pain into progress. You owe it to your future to keep showing up. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always have people cheering for you. But the most powerful strength is the kind that shows up when no one else does. It's the kind of strength that says, I can do this, even if it hurts. I can keep going. Even if I don't have all the answers, I can rebuild, even from the bottom. That's the strength that changes your life. That's the strength that inspires others, not through words, but through action. There are people in this world who need to see someone get back up. Not someone perfect, not someone who has it all figured out, but someone real, someone who hurts, struggles, falls, and still decides to stand. You can be that example. You can be the one who doesn't quit. You can be the one who keeps showing up, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. You can be the one who proves that setbacks don't mean you're finished. Get back up and take one more step, then take another. Keep it simple. You don't have to rebuild your entire life today. Just start with one honest action, one real choice, one thing that proves to yourself that you haven't given up. You'll be surprised how far those small actions can take you. You'll look back one day and realize that every time you stood up, you were building a version of yourself that nothing could destroy. No matter how long you've been down, it's not too late. No matter how much you've lost, there's still something to fight for. You've got air in your lungs. You've got time. You've got another shot. And if you've still got breath, you've still got purpose. You just have to claim it. You just have to decide that this is not where the story ends. You are not your failure. You are not your past. You are not the labels you've been given. You are what you choose to do next. You don't need anyone's permission to rise. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need the pain to disappear. You just need to move. You just need to show yourself that you're still alive, still in the game, still fighting. The fight may not look pretty. It may not feel strong, but it's still a fight. And if you're still in the fight, you've still got a chance. Get back up. Again, even if your legs are shaking, even if your voice is tired, even if your heart is heavy, stand again, not for them, for you. Because you know deep down you were not born to stay broken. You were not born to stay lost. You were born to rise, born to push forward, born to keep going, no matter what comes your way. So take the hit, feel it, learn from it, then rise, not as the same person, but as someone wiser, tougher, more ready than ever before. Because that's what happens every time you get back up. You become someone who doesn't break. You become someone who bends, adapts, grows, and comes back even stronger. And there is nothing more powerful than a person who refuses to stay down. Number 6, silence your doubts and move with full focus. There comes a point in every person's life when the noise inside their head gets louder than anything outside. Doubts start speaking with more force than truth. You hear questions like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I fail again? What if this all falls apart? Those questions don't come from logic. They come from fear. And fear has a way of dressing itself up to look reasonable. But if you don't learn how to silence those doubts, they'll become the loudest voice in your life. They'll stop you before you even get started. They'll keep you stuck in the same spot year after year, looking at your goals from a distance, too afraid to move. The moment you decide to move with full focus is the moment you take your power back. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for confidence to show up before you act. You move even if you're unsure. You push forward even if the road isn't clear. Because what matters most isn't how much doubt you feel. It's how much action you take in spite of it. Doubts will always be there. They'll whisper. They'll test you. But they don't get to decide what you do next unless you let them. You need to understand something important. Focus isn't a feeling. It's a decision. It's not about getting rid of every fear in your mind. It's about choosing where you put your energy. You can't focus on your future if your mind is stuck in fear. You can't chase your goals while feeding your doubts. You've got to pick a side. You either let those thoughts take over, or you move anyway. You either stay stuck in the cycle of hesitation, or you break out and commit to the next step. The truth is, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they keep starting and stopping. They start with excitement, then slow down when doubt creeps in. They pause every time things feel uncertain. That hesitation destroys progress. You can't build something strong if you keep interrupting the process. You've got to stay locked in. You've got to protect your focus like it's your life. Because it is. Where your focus goes, your life follows. When you stop listening to your doubts, you start hearing something else. Clarity. You start seeing what really matters. You start feeling the pull of your goals again. But that only happens when you stop giving attention to thoughts that don't help you grow. Not every thought is worth entertaining. Not every worry deserves your time. Your job isn't to analyze every fear that comes into your mind. Your job is to build something meaningful in the middle of the noise. And the only way to do that is with full focus. Full focus doesn't mean you have every answer. It doesn't mean you feel confident every second of the day. It means you show up fully where you are. You give your best to what's in front of you. You pour your energy into one step at a time. You stop multitasking your dreams. You stop bouncing from one idea to another. You stay consistent. You stay sharp. You stay clear about why you're doing this. And when doubt tries to show up, you don't argue with it. You just keep moving. That's the discipline. That's how you win. Every time you choose focus over fear, you build mental strength. Every time you act instead of overthinking, you create momentum, and momentum beats fear every single time. But it starts with you. No one is going to hand you clarity. No one is going to clear your mind for you. That's your job. You've got to be the one who says, I hear the doubts, but I'm not stopping here. I've got work to do. I've got a goal to reach. I've got something worth building, and I won't let fear decide for me. What you focus on grows. If you keep focusing on everything that might go wrong, your energy gets scattered. You start imagining problems that don't exist. You freeze up. But when you focus on what you can do right now, your confidence builds. You start gaining ground. You start proving to yourself that you're capable. That proof matters. That proof changes how you think. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hesitates. You start seeing yourself as someone who executes, someone who finishes, someone who doesn't fold under pressure. Don't let people's opinions create more doubt in your mind. Not everyone is going to understand your path. Some people are going to question your choices. Some people are going to criticize your pace. But none of that matters. What matters is that you stay focused. What matters is that you don't give your energy to things that distract you. You weren't built to please everyone. You were built to grow, to evolve, to achieve something real. And that requires you to shut out the noise, to turn down the volume on fear, to move in the direction that aligns with your purpose, even if it's hard. This world is full of distractions, full of voices telling you to slow down, give up, try something easier, and your mind can become the loudest one. But focus cuts through all of that. Focus says, I'm not here to entertain my fears today. I'm here to make progress. I'm here to do the work. And the more you practice that, the stronger you get. The more you show up with clarity, the less room there is for doubt. Doubt doesn't survive in the mind of someone who's committed. It only survives where there's hesitation. So eliminate the hesitation, decide, lock in, and don't look back. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't need to see the whole staircase. But you do need to take the step in front of you. You do need to keep your head in the game. You do need to remind yourself of the reason you started. And every time your mind tries to pull you away from that, you respond with action. Action silences doubt. Discipline shuts it down. Repetition builds the strength you need to stay focused when everything inside you wants to run. So if the doubts are getting louder, don't panic. Don't give them more attention. Instead, return to your goals. Get quiet. Cut the noise. Get back to your routine. Put your head down and do the work. Let results do the talking. Let progress become your answer. Let discipline be your response to every fear. Because the more you move with full focus, the more you remind yourself who's in control. Not fear, not hesitation. You have everything you need inside you to do something powerful. But only if you stop giving energy to the thoughts that weaken you. Stay committed to your goals. Stay loyal to your focus. Stay grounded in your vision. And when those doubts come back, and they will, you don't argue with them. You don't run from them. You simply say, I'm still moving. I'm still locked in. I've got work to do. And you keep going. That's how you win. Number 7, wake up early and outwork who you were yesterday. The person you were yesterday isn't your competition anymore. It's your reference point. You're not here to be better than them. You're here to outgrow them. That means showing up before the rest of the world starts moving. It means taking ownership of your time before it gets taken from you. Waking up early isn't just about discipline. It's a declaration. It's you saying, I won't wait for life to happen. I'll create the momentum before anyone even starts. When the world is still quiet, that's when you find the clearest version of yourself. No distractions, no noise. Just you, your focus, and the responsibility to become more. And it's in that silence where most people choose comfort. They stay in bed, they delay, they tell themselves they'll start later. But the truth is, they're choosing to stay the same. Growth doesn't begin when it's easy. It begins when you interrupt comfort with intentional effort. When you interrupt sleep with purpose. When you interrupt routine with new standards. It's not just about getting up. It's about what you do when you're up. You can wake up at 5 a.m. and still waste your time. What matters is how you direct your energy. When your feet hit the floor, ask yourself, what can I do today that I didn't do yesterday? What part of me can I sharpen? Where can I show more discipline, more effort, more awareness? That's how you beat the person you were yesterday. Not by making excuses for them, but by raising the bar they couldn't reach. No one's going to hand you the life you want. You earn it by doing what most people won't. You earn it by treating each morning like an opportunity, not a burden. You earn it by seeing every hour before sunrise as a head start on the old version of yourself. While others are just waking up, you've already planned, trained, created, and grown. That gives you a mental edge, not because you're better, but because you chose not to waste what others overlook. When you commit to rising early, you learn something powerful. Your mindset controls your day, not your emotions. You might feel tired. You might not feel motivated, but you still move. And every time you do that, you prove to yourself that you are in control. That's how real confidence is built. Not from feeling great all the time, but from acting with intention when it's difficult. That's the mindset that separates those who evolve from those who remain unchanged. Every early morning is a reset button, a chance to choose new thoughts, new habits, new standards. You don't need to wait for a new year or a better time. Your transformation begins the moment you stop negotiating with laziness. It begins the moment you say, I'm not doing this for anyone else. I'm doing it because I refuse to stay the same. You don't need external motivation. You just need internal pressure, the pressure to never let your past outwork your present. And here's the reality. Yesterday doesn't care about your intentions. It only remembers your actions. You can't outrun your past with more talking. You overcome it by building a track record of commitment. The version of you that gave up, delayed, settled for less. That version doesn't get to write today's script. You do, right now. And the best way to silence that old self is by living differently than it did. People love to dream. They love to imagine their future self. But dreams are worthless without the discipline to make them real. And that discipline is forged when you wake up before your excuses do. Before your mind has a chance to talk you out of action. That's when you get your edge. That's when you train your brain to follow through, even when it's inconvenient. Because success is rarely convenient. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It rewards those who are consistent. There will be days when you don't feel like moving. Days when your body is tired and your mind says rest. But you have to decide, do you want relief or do you want growth? One gives you comfort in the moment. The other gives you strength for life. Every time you show up, despite the discomfort, you stack wins. You build proof. You remind yourself that progress doesn't need permission. It just needs persistence. Becoming better than yesterday is a choice you make minute by minute. You don't become great by accident. You become great by habit. You repeat small actions with precision. You hold yourself to new expectations. You keep track of your effort, not just your results. And when you fall short, you don't make excuses. You adjust. You stay hungry. You stay humble, and you get back to work. Nobody's coming to push you. Nobody's coming to remind you what time it is. This journey is yours. And every morning you get up early, you're sending a signal to your future self. I'm ready. I'm not here to play small. I'm not here to live on autopilot. I'm here to grow, to fight, to win against yesterday's weakness. That mentality turns ordinary people into leaders. That mindset transforms struggle into strength. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to show up and outwork your old patterns. You don't compete with anyone else. Your only mission is to build a stronger, wiser, more disciplined version of yourself. And that starts the moment you get up and move with purpose. So ask yourself today, did I outwork the person I was yesterday? Did I train harder, think clearer, stay more focused? Did I make the most of the hours that others threw away? If the answer is yes, then you're already winning. If the answer is no, then adjust. Get sharper. Wake up tomorrow with a new level of intention. Because the version of you that stays the same is always waiting to take your place. And you've got one job. Don't let them win. Number 8. Stop waiting now and build your future today. The biggest trap you'll ever fall into is the idea that you still have time. That illusion is the reason so many people never move, never start, never commit. They believe tomorrow will be easier, clearer, or more convenient. But that version of the future never shows up. There is no perfect time to chase your goals. There is only right now and what you choose to do with it. Stop convincing yourself that delay is harmless. Every time you hesitate, you lose momentum. Every time you wait, you hand your power to doubt, to fear, and to comfort. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. Your life doesn't change when the conditions are right. It changes when you decide that waiting is no longer an option. That's when you take back control, not by having a flawless plan, but by taking relentless action. The person who succeeds isn't always the smartest or the most talented. It's the one who stops postponing and starts building. Your future doesn't build itself. It's created by the bricks you lay every single day. And the longer you sit still, the harder it becomes to create anything worth living for. Procrastination isn't just a bad habit. It's a form of self-sabotage. It convinces you that comfort now is more valuable than freedom later. But real success is uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It forces you to face the parts of yourself you'd rather avoid. And that's why most people never start. They would rather imagine a better life than actually create it. But you're not most people. You're here to make decisions that force growth. You're here to build something solid, not just dream about it. You won't always feel ready. You won't always be motivated. But that's irrelevant. Action isn't based on how you feel. It's based on what you value. If you truly value your future, you stop giving your time away to meaningless distractions. You stop justifying inaction with weak excuses. You wake up with purpose, not passivity. You take full ownership, even if you're unsure, because clarity comes from movement. Every step forward gives you insight that sitting still never will. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you've been hoping for a breakthrough, create one. Nobody is coming to fix your life for you. Nobody is going to push you harder than you push yourself. This is your responsibility. And the more you avoid it, the deeper the regret will dig into you later. The truth is, time is always moving, whether you use it or not. So either you build something with it, or it slips through your hands while you tell yourself you'll get serious eventually. Success belongs to those who make decisions quickly and stick to them. Not those who analyze forever. Not those who drown in doubt. When you move, you create momentum, and momentum is more powerful than motivation. It doesn't rely on hype or excitement. It feeds off action, repetition, and follow through. Start with what you have. Use what you know. Learn along the way. But don't wait, because waiting creates rust. It weakens your will, and it conditions you to expect results without putting in the effort. Every day you hesitate, someone else takes your opportunity. Someone else is working, improving, building while you delay. And that should bother you, not because it's a race against others, but because you know deep down that you could be doing more. That fire in your gut telling you to move, listen to it. That restlessness you feel when you waste hours, don't numb it, use it. Turn your frustration into action. Let it fuel the foundation of the life you want to live. Your dreams won't survive your excuses. They won't thrive in your comfort zone. They require effort, direction, and bold decisions. You can't wish your way into a better life. You have to build it brick by brick, choice by choice. The process won't always feel rewarding, but it will be worth it. Not because it's easy, but because it transforms who you are. Every time you act with discipline, you kill the version of you that wanted to settle. That's how real change begins, with consistent action in the face of resistance. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to stop waiting for the answers to show up on their own. The answers come through execution, through doing the work, through failing, learning, adjusting, and continuing. You'll never reach your full potential if you keep asking, what if it doesn't work? Start asking, what if I never try? That question should scare you more than any risk, because the cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of effort. This isn't about overnight transformation. This is about daily responsibility. One decision at a time, 1 hour at a time. You control your time, your choices, and your discipline. So use them, not to impress anyone else, not to prove anything to the world, but because you know you were meant for more than repeating the same empty days. This is about self-respect. It's about doing what you said you would do, even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching. The future isn't waiting for you. It's responding to the actions you take right now. If you want to live a life that means something, stop postponing your effort. Stop pretending that you need more motivation. You need more action, more consistency, more urgency. The version of you who gets results didn't wait for permission. They started. They moved. They built without applause. That's who you need to become. Someone who's too focused to be distracted, too committed to give up. Right now, in this exact moment, you are shaping who you will become next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. The effort you put in today compounds. The mindset you build today becomes your default. So don't let today slip by unnoticed. Make it count. Make it yours. Make it the reason your future self looks back and says, that was the day everything changed, because it can be. If you stop waiting and start building. Number 9. Face your fears and take one step forward now. Fear only has power when you feed it with hesitation. It grows stronger every time you avoid it, every time you pretend it's not there, and every time you choose comfort instead of courage. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't disappear when you wait. It doesn't dissolve just because you ignore it. It fades only when you confront it directly. One step. That's all it takes to begin rewriting your story. Not a leap, not a miracle, just one deliberate move forward into what scares you. That's how you reclaim your strength. Not by becoming fearless, but by acting even when fear is loud. You don't need to see the entire path to take the first step. The fear will tell you you're not ready, not good enough, not equipped, but fear lies. And it will continue lying for as long as you let it decide how you live. You don't beat fear by talking about it. You beat it by acting through it, by standing up when it tells you to sit down, by moving when it tells you to wait. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more. And right now, your growth, your goals, your life matters more than your comfort zone. Fear is nothing more than a signal. It points to the places where you haven't yet stepped into your full power. And if you keep avoiding those places, you'll keep living beneath your potential. You'll keep watching other people rise while you hold yourself back. You were not built to live in retreat. You were built to expand, to stretch, to evolve. And that process begins the moment you stop running from fear and start using it as fuel. Everything you want exists beyond the boundary of your current comfort. You can talk about it, dream about it, visualize it all day, but none of that matters if you don't take real steps toward it. Every meaningful change in life comes with a level of risk. There's always uncertainty, always discomfort, always resistance. That's the price of growth. And you pay it not all at once, but every time you choose action over avoidance, every time you choose bravery over excuses. That first step doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to feel amazing. It just has to be real. Start small, but start now. Send the message, make the call, show up, ask the question, do the thing you've been delaying. You'll be surprised by what happens when you do. Because the second you act, you shift something inside yourself. You move from being a prisoner of fear to a person of power. And power is built one courageous step at a time. Nobody else can do this part for you. They can support you. They can cheer you on. But they cannot move your feet. That's your job. You decide whether today becomes a turning point or just another page in a story filled with missed opportunities. You already know what you've been avoiding. You already know what keeps tugging at your heart, whispering that you're meant for more. The only thing left is to step toward it, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble. There will always be reasons to wait. Fear will always offer excuses. But if you keep waiting for the fear to vanish, you'll wait forever. The people who build powerful lives are the ones who understand this. They stop giving their fear the final say. They listen to it, learn from it, but they don't let it control their decisions. And that's the shift you need to make. Not eliminating fear, but refusing to let it steer your direction. Fear only wins when it freezes you. The longer you stay still, the more it convinces you that forward isn't safe. But you've stayed still long enough. You've lived inside your head long enough. It's time to get into motion, because fear loses its grip the moment you act. It weakens with every step you take. And before you know it, what once felt impossible becomes your new normal. But none of that happens unless you're willing to do the uncomfortable work of movement. There's no easy way around fear. You can't think your way through it, talk your way out of it, or avoid your way past it. The only way is through, step by step, breath by breath, choice by choice. And with every move you make, you become someone who doesn't fold when things get hard. You become someone who's proud of the way they show up, even when nobody is watching, even when everything inside you wants to run. You don't need more time. You need more action. You don't need to figure everything out. You need to trust that you'll learn as you go. Because the truth is, clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. The fog clears once you move. The doubt fades once you show up. And the fear shrinks once you confront it. Not all at once, but day after day, as you prove to yourself that it can't stop you anymore. If your life feels stuck, look at what you've been avoiding. That's where your power is hiding. The conversation you don't want to have, the decision you keep postponing, the risk you're afraid to take. That's the place to begin. That's where the breakthrough lives. And the longer you wait, the more distant it becomes. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let hesitation steal another chapter from your life. Start now. Don't wait until you feel brave. Bravery is born through action. Every second you delay is a second you give away. And your future deserves better than that. One step. That's all it takes to shift your momentum. One step to interrupt the pattern. One step to show yourself that you're still in control. You've fallen before and gotten back up. You've doubted yourself and still moved forward. You've survived moments where you didn't think you'd make it. You've done hard things before and you can do them again. Fear will always knock. Let it, but don't invite it in. Don't sit with it. Don't let it get comfortable. Open the door, look it in the eyes and move anyway. Because you've got work to do. You've got goals to reach. You've got a future to build. And none of that happens unless you decide right now that fear doesn't get the final word. You do. And your voice must be louder than the fear that wants you quiet. Take the step. Face the fear. Your life is waiting. Number 10, kill the weakness and keep going no matter what. Weakness is not something you're born with. It's something you feed when you choose comfort over effort. When you settle for less instead of demanding more from yourself. It grows when you stop fighting for your potential. It multiplies when you give in to excuses and blame everything but your own discipline. Weakness isn't permanent, but if you refuse to confront it, it will quietly rob you of every opportunity to become who you were meant to be. If you want to build strength, you don't negotiate with your weakness. You eliminate it. You call it out, strip it down, and crush it before it makes a home inside your routine. You weren't built to fold under pressure. You weren't designed to escape the hard parts of life. You were created with the ability to adapt, to grow, to conquer. But that version of you will never emerge as long as you protect your softness and let your feelings run your day. Discipline starts when you decide that no matter how you feel, you'll do what must be done. That's how you begin to kill the weakness. You stop giving it room to breathe. You stop giving it second chances. And you keep going forward even when everything inside you is begging to quit. There will be moments when your body wants rest, but your goals demand movement. There will be days when your mind gets tired of the grind, but your future needs more from you. You'll feel the pull to slow down, to justify falling off, to choose the easy way. But easy doesn't change you. Easy doesn't make you stronger. Easy doesn't separate you from the average. If you want to live a different kind of life, you must be willing to live with a different kind of pressure. That's where growth begins. When you're willing to suffer for something greater than your mood. Every time you avoid the struggle, the weakness grows stronger. It becomes a habit to delay, to skip, to retreat. But every time you show up, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're drained, even when nobody's pushing you, you reclaim your power. You become someone who does not fold. You become someone whose strength is built from repetition, from choice, from relentless effort. You begin to see that weakness is not a condition. It's a decision. And you can reverse it with consistent, ruthless action. Nobody's coming to save you from your softness. Nobody's going to wake you up and remind you what matters. Nobody's going to walk into your life and hand you a stronger mindset. That's your responsibility. And it starts when you stop treating motivation like a requirement. Motivation is a bonus. Discipline is the requirement. Doing the work without applause, without reward, without emotion. That's where the real you is built. That's how you separate yourself from the crowd. That's how you leave behind the part of you that keeps holding you back. You will be tempted to quit. You will have moments where everything feels heavy. That's not weakness. That's life testing you. The weakness shows up when you start listening to those voices that tell you to take the day off, to skip the work, to wait for a better time. The strength shows up when you do it anyway. Even if you're limping, even if you're doubting, even if it's messy, you keep going. You refuse to stop. Because there's nothing more dangerous than letting weakness settle in and become your identity. You must fight to keep it out. Your mind will look for a way out. That's its job, to protect you from discomfort. But you have to be smarter than your mind. You have to override the thoughts that tell you you've done enough. You have to challenge the part of you that wants to be pampered and protected. That's where growth happens. Not in the days you feel inspired, but in the days you feel nothing and still act. The days where there's no spark, no fuel, no rush, but you still show up and deliver. That's what kills weakness. Consistent, repeated action in the face of resistance. There are no shortcuts to strength. There's no bypass for becoming mentally unbreakable. The only way is through repetition. You build toughness the same way you build muscle, by showing up and pushing past the point where most people stop. It's about making the hard decisions when it's the last thing you want to do. It's about removing the safety nets and doing the work without a backup plan. If you fall, you get back up without negotiation. If it hurts, you keep going without pity. That's what it means to keep going no matter what. No excuses, no soft landings, just forward motion. There will be voices around you telling you to slow down. They'll call your discipline extreme. They'll say you need to relax more, enjoy more, take it easy. That's weakness disguised as kindness. Don't fall for it. If you want to be average, follow the crowd. But if you want to build a different kind of life, you must be willing to outwork your emotions, outlast your circumstances, and outgrow your excuses. That means embracing discomfort as a requirement, not an obstacle. That means living like you're at war with your old habits. Because you are. You owe it to yourself to find out what happens when you stop holding back. When you stop giving energy to your doubts and start pouring it into action. You owe it to yourself to discover what you're capable of when you stop quitting. When you keep going even when nobody believes in you. Even when results are slow. Even when the process feels endless. The breakthroughs don't come in comfort. They come in consistency, in grit, in the choice to rise above the voice that says maybe later. And answer with right now. That's the version of you that will change your life. The one that doesn't flinch when it gets tough. The one that shows up tired, frustrated, overwhelmed, and still does the work. You don't kill weakness by avoiding it. You kill it by proving it wrong. Every day. With action. With consistency. With a refusal to break. You're not soft. You're not fragile. You've just been conditioned to believe that ease is the goal. But the truth is, strength feels better than comfort. Discipline tastes better than relief. And there's nothing more rewarding than knowing you didn't quit when it got hard. Keep going. Keep fighting. Kill the excuses. Kill the doubt. Kill the weakness. And keep moving forward. No matter what.